Yo, welcome back to Brain and Smooth TV. Back at you with another review. Y'all know my favorite superheroes back. We done watched the trailers. We done seen all the hype in the news stories. The Batman, featuring Pattinson? Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano, Zoe Kravitz, and of course our boy Colin Farrell. Um, let's see how I want to start this off. Let's just run through the movie. The opening scene with the Riddler was creepy as hell. I did like the point of view, um, like binocular scene he had where he was breathing because we really didn't know if that was Batman, who it was, and then him just um, bludgeoning the dude, and then putting duct tape over his head. You can tell he was actually really enjoying that. And what I say about the Riddler, most of the stuff when he was in costume was cool as fuck to me. I thought that was dope. Some of the stuff we'll get into later. Now, it starts off with Batman narrating. They said like a L.A. Noir or something like that, and I thought that was actually good. It did give a different take on the superhero as far as how we view Batman, and then also what he goes through because basically they have him doing a lot of narrating, but as far as dialogue, he's very stoic. He's not really saying too much. Also, and I'll probably mention this throughout, even though I thought it was overused at times, this is probably the best Batman score in a movie, period. Danny Elfman was holding it down on the first two, and y'all know I got love for the first Batman and Batman Returns and Batman Forever. Unlike a lot of Batman fans, they was hyped then. Maybe it's because I was a kid, but now they don't want to be hyped. Now the Batman intro scene was good, and he looked menacing. He walked up. You can kind of hear him coming, so this ain't necessarily the sneakiest Batman. He does have times where he uses stealth, but the opening scene was pretty good. He beat them thugs up, told them he was vengeance and all of that. Um, the fighting in this movie, and I know everybody gonna say, "Well, it's just year two." Yeah, but this is year two of Bruce Wayne traveling the world, y'all, and training with the most elite fighters on the planet. Batman was getting hit a lot in this. He should have went to Floyd Mayweather School of Boxing and stopped over there, because he was getting like beat up a lot. And even though I know it's year two, and it's different in the field probably when you're fighting, and training and practicing, he was getting his ass whooped. We'll get into that later. Now, the police, they do not trust him at all. And Gordon, who's actually a lieutenant, he's not commissioner yet. He's the only person that really trusts Batman, y'all. The only fucking person that trusts Batman. And he sees the good in Batman. That's why he trusts him. But since he's so new on the scene, nobody really knows who he is. And the trust is reluctant. Of course, getting into the movie and the story, you'll see why they probably didn't trust him even more. Now, the detective eye was a nice, dope thing. Basically, Batman got these contacts he can put in and analyze everything like the goddamn Batman Arkham games. He can see people's faces, immediately ID them. It looks like I call it the Bat Eye or Detective Eye, whatever you want to call it. It's tied into his Bat computer. So he gets information instantaneously, and then he also records each and everything. So when we see Batman walking through the crime scenes, looking at stuff, he's actually doing detective work without even touching it. Also, it was a funny scene. I did enjoy how they put this in. Batman was looking at stuff while they had the detectives there investigating. And then when Batman look at it, he'll kind of look at something and then just keep walking. And they'll look over there like, oh shit, we might have missed something. So I thought that was cool. Now, Alfred in this doesn't get a lot of screen time. Andy Serkis, of course, is a good actor. I ain't gonna front y'all. I don't know Andy Serkis, but nothing from Lord of the Rings, the Planet of the Apes movies. Of course, Matt Reeves is the director of two of those, so that's why he's in this. And then Black Panther. But Alfred kept a 100 with Bruce. He wants Bruce to still run the company and have somewhat of his legacy being a Wayne and keeping it intact. But this Batman is not interested in being Bruce Wayne. And I know a lot of people are going to critique that because in order to be a good Batman, to me, you equally have to be a good Bruce Wayne. Um, excuse me. And most Bruce Waynes are smooth. This Batman is Batman 100% through the goddamn movie. He told him, look, I don't care if I die, Alfred. And I like this Alfred because he was looking at him like, man, I'm trying to hold this shit together and you don't care if you die. But I've been watching you all these years. This is suicidal Batman, y'all. This Batman has a death wish. And throughout the movie, you're going to see him take risk out the yin yang. This is Edward Scissorhands Batman. And you know, when he's Bruce Wayne, he's in the Johnny Depp school of acting. Not really doing too much. I did like when he put the sunglasses on, kind of like he was a vampire. I thought that was a good little shot at the Twilight movies. That was cool. But this Bruce Wayne doesn't exist. You know, a lot of people say in the Batman mythos that if you're a super fan like me, that Bruce Wayne died when his parents got killed. In this one, fucking dead. And all it is Batman. Now, I thought it was funny Batman trying to get into the club. That was a good little scene. He fucked that dude up. The Penguin was so cool. Colin Farrell didn't overdo it. He was one of my favorite parts of the movie. He was laid back, and I like his intro. This series is probably going to be good. And, you know, Batman go in there, interrogate him, throw him all up against the wall. He's like, hey, chill out. You know, we good. Come sit down, chill. We can go to my office and talk. So they go to the office, and Batman's getting all hype. And you can tell Penguin knew something, but he lied to Batman like a mug. Now, this is the introduction we get into Catwoman. She's a waitress at the bar, and I'm not going to front. The first time I watched this movie, I didn't really care about Catwoman's arc. I didn't care about her friend that was tied up with the mafia. I didn't care. Maybe I should have, but it wasn't enough build-up. And it was like, I didn't have no reason to really care about this character. But Zoe Kravitz can get it, y'all. Catwoman can get it. And then she calls the white chick baby, so I'm guessing she's a bisexual Catwoman, and she's looking up for the girl. I think her name was like Annika or Anika. But she's trying to help this lady because this lady witnessed something and now the mob's after her. But yeah, she called her, the white chick baby, little catnip. You know, so she meow 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 meow. Gotta have representation. Now, the score plays homage to Batman Returns Catwoman, and I swear you can hear little sounds when they play her music, her theme. I like those Easter eggs. Now, Anika, like I said earlier, that's Selina's friend. She actually gets kidnapped. And when they go back into the apartment, because the Batman's a stalker, he followed her home and was watching her get dressed and some more shit. Anyways, when she gets kidnapped and you can tell that the place is ransacked, Batman walk in and don't say shit. He just walk in. This Batman don't be giving a fuck about shit. And that's what I did like about this Batman. It's a couple scenes throughout the movie where they be like, well, he's still a person, Batman. But if he's a criminal, Batman look at him like, so? He died. I don't give a fuck. Criminals die every day, B. He be alright. It was that Batman, so I thought that was funny as shit. Also, Catwoman sipping milk. They don't ever call her Catwoman through the movie, but saying lines like, I got a lot of strays and sipping milk was cool. Now, Lieutenant Gordon, who's played by Jeffrey Wright, had me smiling a little throughout the whole movie, and I enjoyed Gordon. I like him and Batman's partnership. Why did he sound like Batman, though, kind of, or Rorschach from Watchmen? Maybe that was just me. Now, they end up hatching a plan to go back to the club and get some information, and the bat eyes are very useful. So Selina actually wore the contacts in the club, and it shows Batman's detective skills. He's telling her what to do. He's kind of in her ear, letting her know what to do. Also, they introduced some type of drug in Gotham called drip. They drip heads. And drip heads apparently get you fucked up. It looked like some form of acid. The cops telling Selina everything while they on these drugs. And it makes them confess almost like a truth serum. Either that or you can't hold this shit. Now, that same cop leaves the club, and this was a good scene. It reminded me of Michael Myers, but the Riddler's actually in the back of the car. Of course, beats him up, bludgeons him, messes him up, ties him up, and kidnaps him. So, we fast forward to the funeral scene, and at the beginning of the movie, of course, the mayor gets killed. Either the mayor or the DA. I think it's the mayor. Yeah. The funeral scene was one of the best scenes in the movie. One of the better scenes in the movie, because seeing Batman understood what that kid was actually going through was real good acting without having to speak. Also, is it Robin foreshadowing? We don't know. Could be a future Robin. Hey, we'll see. But the Riddler was actually in the balcony. That was a good scene when he looked up and seen him, and then he looked back and he was gone. That was some real kind of, horror movie S type shit. And they do have elements of detective movie in this. This is a horror movie. This is a thriller. It's a superhero movie too, if you call it. Like, one critique I had, Batman is very robotic with his movement in this. He walks like RoboCop or Michael Myers when he turns, when he makes gestures, almost like the suit is super heavy. And maybe it is because Batman probably took at least 100 rounds in this movie and was knocked out for a little bit, but he never got pierced with a bullet or nothing. That shit's crazy. Now, the Riddler ends up taping a bomb to the DA, and then he goes into classic Riddler mode. And I did like this scene. This is my favorite Riddler scene in the movie. When he has that bomb strapped to that dude's head, he gets to ask him 3 questions, and of course, if he gets the 3 questions right, he'll disarm it. But he didn't make it. And Batman standing right there giving him answers and clues to it, but he didn't want to answer the 3rd question. Best fucking Riddler scene and one of the best villain lines, I feel like, in any superhero movie. That countdown was creepy and his voice was creepy. He's 3, 2, 1, bomb. That was dope. Also, they said my line I liked in the trailer. If you are justice, what is the price for your blind eye? I did like this, and some people was like, we trying to be like Joker. No, this was different than the Joker. Yes, he was making tapes and sending them out. This is a little different than the Joker, though. It wasn't the same. That was the best scene for me. And it was all on FaceTime. We wasn't even the Riddler like live acting. I thought that was, they got to bring it to modern times. Now, here's a problem, Batman be taking explosions to the face. And I told y'all, this Batman has a death wish. They end up knocking Batman out. They take him to the police precinct. And Batman is wanted, y'all. So I don't know why he's not behind bars. This is a wanted vigilante. They just got him laid on the table in the interrogation room. This dude should be in jail and have to figure out how to get out behind bars. Now, Gordon ends up hatching a plan to break him out. And I love Jeffrey Wright because he is a black man in this goddamn. This is real Gordon. Not that the other one was fake. But we bring a little swag to the role. And the way he walked up to Batman and stuck his goddamn finger in his chest and was moving, but you can't hear what he... Man, that was a good fucking scene. And he said, look, take this key. You can escape from the roof. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do that. He was like, look, punch me in the face. So Gordon was awesome in this scene. And he helped Batman escape. Now, fast forward, they end up finding Anika's head in the goddamn bag because Selena gets the bag of money and think it's money, but she ends up seeing her head in that. That was fucking crazy because I was like, is this a PG-13 movie? And you can show a decapitated head? I guess you can. This shit should have been rated R, y'all. Might as well pushed it. Now, the Batmobile Chasing was epic. Is it the best chase scene? Fucking close. Because I like the Dark Knight chase scene when the Joker blow up the Batmobile and then that motherfucking motorcycle come out and they flip a fucking 18-wheeler. That's still up there. But this Batman scene was really fucking good. And Batman... Batman is a psycho. Batman has road rage. Watch the scene, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, they end up interrogating the Penguin after he escaped. And he tried to escape. And that interrogation scene was good. Jeffrey Wright can act his ass off. And I hate to say it, but he's acting better than Robert Pattinson in scenes. He's still in the scenes. Also, Penguin's still in the scenes, too. But when he said, open your eyes! And the Penguin was like, y'all don't even know Spanish? You the world's greatest detective, dog. And you didn't know that this was Spanish, so they end up figuring out one of the puzzles. I like how he said world's greatest detective, and they do drop a few lines in there for us comic book heads, so I thought that was dope. Now, going back, and I'm going to skip around because I didn't watch it. It took me 2 watches. Batman being scared before he jumped off the roof of the GCPD was dope, and I'm glad they showed that. Anybody from that height doing that for the first time would be scared. Also, him crashing on the bridge, that's some real shit, and I appreciate them doing that. But Batman is indestructible in this movie, y'all. Batman got Superman powers. His bat suit gotta be bulletproof, and he takes so many bullets I can't explain it. Like, Even his face. Y'all looking at this picture right now. The cow, his lips and cheeks, that's just all invincible. He ain't get a scrape mark on one of them motherfuckers. Now, we end up finding out that the Riddler's going against Alfred, in the scene where Batman's trying to call Alfred was a good scene because you can hear him yelling, trying to reach him, but they leave it all silent. And then we see Alfred opening up Batman's mouth, and boom, Alfred get blown the fuck up. I do got one issue though, y'all. You a billionaire, right? And you telling me Alfred ain't got a cell phone? He don't even have a Metro PCS. He don't have a Cricket. He don't have an Obama cell phone. They still in them old ass rotary phones that Bruce's parents had in the goddamn house. Now come on, y'all. This is 2022. Who don't got a cell phone? They gotta fix that. That didn't make me. I'm like, what the fuck? He should have been able to reach him. And then by the time he got there, the shit was already on fire. And they had some other lady, I guess, that works at Wayne Manor, like a secretary, housekeeper, answer the phone. Good scene though with Batman rushing there and him realizing that he does have something to lose, even though if he don't care about dying. Now, the Catwoman story, like I said, the first time I watched it, I didn't care, but it ended up kind of all tying in because what she seen in that woman, her friend Anika, was her mom. A young girl that, was mixed up with the mob and got the raw end of the deal. So we end up finding out that Falcone's actually her father. And he never claimed her or helped her. So that's why she's been robbing him the whole movie. She feels like he owes him money for not being a good father. And that's why she's been stealing from him. And I love Catwoman's theme again. It's very sexy. Good score. Not overly sexy, but just the right amount. Now, the video where Riddler uncovers Martha and Thomas Wayne's past is fucking good. I love his narration. I love the voice inflections he had throughout it. We find out, of course, that the Waynes and the Arkhams are evil. They ended up, basically, their families going back hundreds of years. They founded Gotham. And Martha Wayne was originally an Arkham before she got married and her last name became a Wayne. So we end up finding out that Martha Wayne was in and out of the Arkham Asylum and she has mental issues. I think coming from the Arkham family, they have a history of mental illness in their family. And here's the fucked up part, right? Since they got an issue of mental illness in their family, is Bruce mentally unstable? See, a lot of people got a problem with this Batman and how he's acting, but if he's mentally unstable for the first time on screen, it can answer a lot of questions. Why he's emo and why he's running around. Now, Thomas Wayne tried to have the reporter cover up his wife's mental illness and went to Falcone to try to get the reporter killed. And that's the reason why this whole thing never came out. He was trying to protect his wife from having that leak. Also, he was running for mayor. So having that type of information leak out about his wife's mental issues and family history can be a very, very big deal. So Bruce, not even Batman, in his normal Bruce, he ends up going to confront Falcone at the club. And Falcone says, look, Maroni had your parents killed. And, Bruce is an asshole. So he gets that information, and then fucking Alfred just got blown up in the scene before. The first thing he say when a nigga wake up, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Sorry I wasn't there. What happened? He says, you lied to me, Alfred. That's the first thing he said. But in this scene, we do see that he actually cares for Alfred, and it shows, like I said earlier, that even though he doesn't have anything to lose, he feels like since he lost his parents, Alfred is still there for him, and of course he don't want to lose him. Now, fast forward, Selina actually gets a hold of one of the corrupt cops, and she's asking him questions about Falcone, and they find out, they get a recording that Falcone actually strangled her friend before, chop to the head. So Falcone is crazy as fuck. I didn't like it the first time I watched it, but I went back and watched it, like, this dude is a smooth criminal, y'all. Like, he's that laid back evil that you don't want. Hey, come over here, let me give you a hug. And then he'll end up choking you out. He's one of them. So the renewal fund, we find out, has been ran by Falcone the whole time, and he's the one that's the rat. The whole detective story is trying to figure out who's the rat. The mayor, the DA, everybody in town has been working for him. And it looks like all of this corruption has always been controlled because Falcone's the one running everything. So Selina said, let's kill this son of a bitch. And I kind of feel her. Also, not for what he did, for what he did to all these orphans. So, Catwoman is going to kill her father, and Batman, of course, has to stop her. So she races out, jumps out the building. She's going straight for Falcone. So I do like that small little arc, even though the movie's long and it's getting kind of convoluted with all these storylines. I do like that for a split second, Catwoman was actually the villain in this movie, and Batman had to go stop her. I thought that was dope. Now, when you get to the club, they got all these guns shooting them, automatic weapons, AK-47, shotguns, just the whole nine. The hallway scene was action-packed. And Batman, like I said earlier, exposed mouths and cheeks are bulletproof. Because there ain't no way, I don't understand how did nobody aim for that. If bullets is bouncing off of him like an Iron Man suit, why are y'all not aiming for his mouth? That's just, well, you can say that about all Batmans. But the difference with this one is he got so much of his mouth exposed in the cowl the way it was created that you do have to ask that question. Now, Selena ends up finding her father and gets close to Falcone, tries to shoot him. Of course, her aim was off because she did have him dead to rights. But Falcone actually ends up getting up on her when he's running through the club, hits her, and he's fucking choking his own daughter out. That scene was unintentionally funny because he said, "My own flesh and blood," while he's choking her out. And that's when I was kind of comparing the Falcone to the one from Nolan's universe. We didn't get too many scenes with him, but he was ruthless. But this dude, it will kill his own daughter and not even feel bad about it. They should change his name. He shouldn't even be Falcone. He should be the goddamn Hillside Strangler. Because he's just strangling bitches throughout this whole movie. He probably strangled her mama. I don't know. It seems feasible. Now, the Riddler popped Falcone right after that. We end up catching him. Batman saves Catwoman. And they take him out, walk him outside, and a sniper, a Riddler sniper, bow! Kills him. Dead on the spot. So a lot of his secrets died with him. Now, after that, this is the scene we all seen in the trailer where the Riddler actually turns himself in, and this scene was creepy as fuck. Paul Dano, he did a good job. And looking at Batman through the window while he was getting arrested was sweet. Also, I did like his dialogue. He said, "I just ordered a slice of pumpkin pie." You can tell he's mentally deranged. You can tell by even that pain getting inflicted on him when they slammed his head on the table and putting the cuffs on him. You can tell that he enjoys pain, or he's been through so much that he's actually immune to it. We don't know what happened to this dude in that goddamn orphanage, y'all. Because I think something else happened to them. Yeah, you did get the renewal fund money, but you got to be super agitated to hate Bruce Wayne and hate the Waynes that much. What happened to the Riddler as a kid? You want to talk about doing backstories? Do a backstory on that. Because I think that'd be a good one. We don't need to see Batman's origin, but so what happened to some of these villains which made them into who they are. Because the Riddler throughout this movie, he really just took out criminals and corrupt cops. Until the last scene, and we'll get into that. But overall, he's upset. And we know he's upset because after they catch him, Batman actually puts all the pieces together. It was a good scene too. It was just watching Batman's eyes connect all the clues. That was a good scene. And they find Riddler's headquarters. So we find out the Riddler's upset about the renewal plan. The reason being is it was supposed to be used to help the orphanage and the poor. But of course the greedy elite and criminals, they just used it. That's why throughout this movie that theme is just lies, lies, lies. So shortly after this, the Batman is asked by the Riddler to meet him at Arkham in a very weird scene. And he kept saying Bruce Wayne, but we think he knows his identity. And then the movie plays it and tells Batman like he's the only person we didn't get. But does the Riddler really know Batman is Bruce Wayne? I think he does. And the movie, of course, makes it seem like he doesn't. But I think he does. Or I think he might have an idea who the Batman is. So the Riddler tells Batman, look, you're the person that inspired me. And remember, Batman's been doing this for 2 years to do what he did. The Riddler is super insane and with the yelling, but it is accurate. If you ever read any of the comics or any of the animation, the Riddler's always been portrayed. He tried to be cool, calm, and collected, but if you outsmart him, he loses his shit. So the Riddler losing his shit, it made sense. People say it was a little over the top. No, it made sense. Now this is where it gets sketchy. The Riddler ends up having another plan that Batman didn't figure out. And Batman failed through this movie, y'all. He fucking failed. This first movie was failure. Everybody fucking got murdered. He really didn't save too many people. Batman was a failure in this, but I think that's why. They want him to go down before they have him come up. So, the Riddler fucking floods Gotham. And I guess they have in Gotham something like a Madison Square Garden. So their goal was to get everybody in the garden to protect them, and they were already there for some political thing, campaign party with the mayor. Um, this is where the Riddler kind of fell off of me. He's only going after criminals, and he's only going after corrupt cops throughout the whole movie. And then he has a master plan to just flood Gotham and take out everybody. And I'm like, why is he hurting innocent people? Also, it was probably some orphans there. You know, him having that time being a disgruntled kid, you would think he wouldn't do that. That scene was when it started messing up. And of course, the dumbass mayor, she want to go out there talking about, I got to calm the people down. And then Gordon's like, no, you shouldn't go out there. The DA's been murdered. Costa's been murdered. The fucking mayor's been murdered. Don't go out there. This ain't the time to be a hero. She goes out and immediately gets shot 5 seconds later. You can't tell some people shit. And then the big twist of the movie. The Riddler has 500 followers, more than I got, like and subscribe, helping him. And the Riddler has goons. So that outfit that he's wearing, it's a whole bunch of dudes. It looked like someone was even military trained. Making sure the plan at the Madison Square Garden, or Gotham Garden, goes right. So these goons are fucking everywhere, planting bombs, they shooting people, and they're carrying out the plan. That was a cool little twist. It wasn't bad. It did show how social media has affected us, and it looks like, the information we see that the Riddler learns, he's thanking people for advice on detonators and stuff like that. It shows where we are as a society, because if you get enough people following you and that has that same like mind, it can mess some people up for real. So, this is what I didn't get. They was slamming Batman and dragging his ass all around and shit. They was just bitching Batman out in this. And yeah, I like the action scenes, but this dude knows 127 different styles of martial arts, y'all. Do you understand that? He didn't try the monkey style, tiger, the crane. I didn't really see him doing no Jeet Kune Do. He was just getting his ass whooped. And now everybody was saying, it's year 2, Batman, it's year 2. But he was already fucking trained. We'll get into that. Let me keep going. I did like the scene where Batman tried to save everybody, cut this electrical cord, fell in the water, and he led everybody out. And I thought that scene was tight. He was the light of Gotham, and Gotham was so corrupt. I did like him walking out with the torch and everybody behind him in the city. I thought that was kind of dope. But the third act of this movie is just weird. I think this movie should have ended after they caught the Riddler and had the interrogation scene. That whole third scene seemed like it was something in a reshoot or was added on to have one big climactic action-packed cinema scene at the end. I think that's what that was for. But was it necessary? Not necessary. The Riddler pulling all this shit off by itself would have gave the Riddler a little more credence, in my opinion. But this Batman is reckless, y'all. And at the end of the movie, Gotham is flooded. They start talking about enacting martial law, but they did drop the hints, and they used it in the dialogue for No Man's Land. Shout out to my uncle, Arthur Philip Wayne, who gave me that book. If they do No Man's Land in the second one, where Gotham is just freaking crazy, the police force is trying to keep their shit together, and they carve the city up in a whole bunch of different territories for villains, that's dope. If they do that. This mayor wasn't smart. In order to lead the people, you got to be allowed to do that. I know she tried to be Batman, so come on, Mayor, get your shit together. Now, let's get to the fucking Joker scene. In Arkham, it was unnecessary. It was whack. I think it should have been a post-credit scene, but they put it in the movie, which is fine. It wasn't. It was just, they hinted that it was the Joker because he used the word joke. It's the Joker. Now, the dude they got playing him, I don't think he's a bad actor. Out of the Eternals, he was one of the better things in the Eternals movie, and I understood what he was saying. So, could he come back? Yes, but for Joker, you need to save him maybe for another movie. We've had so much Joker, and you're not going to outdo Heath Ledger. You'll probably get close, but Jared Leto's Joker was crazy Joker. It was just, I don't think it was needed. Also, the last Catwoman scene when they was driving off was unnecessary too. The movie should have ended, if they had to end it in between that time, with Batman looking up at that goddamn helicopter. That's where I feel like it should have ended. So overall, is it the best Batman movie ever? Some people are saying that. The critics are. Is it the worst? Far from it. Did I like it? Yes, I enjoyed this movie. Um, is it my favorite Batman movie? No. Dark Knight is still up there. Batman Returns for me was a good movie. Maybe it was because I was a kid. I don't care. That's one of my favorite Batman movies. And then I recently watched the Nolan movies. I watched all three of them. Batman Begins is real good too. Now, as far as Batman origin movies, which they really didn't get into the origin, they did, but they didn't because he was already Batman. Batman Begins is probably still the best origin movie. But this is probably overall, like the score in this movie, legendary. The detective stuff, legendary. Could it have been 2 hours, 2.5 hours? Yep. And could Batman have not been getting his ass whipped? Batman knows 127 styles, y'all, of combat. And he's fighting Riddler dudes who are internet trolls that are following another weak internet dude. Well, all the Riddler's military trained? I don't know. Penguin did good. Catwoman did all right. She's probably my number two Catwoman behind Michelle Pfeiffer, but she's number one overall because she actually had a story arc. And when we found out Falcone was her father, that kind of tied everything together. And then on my second viewing, when I watched it again, I understood her story arc a little well. So, do y'all like this? Do you don't like it? I don't know. I might do some commentary on it later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll holler back. Peace.